Okay?
Well, you don't know if there's any cops in those statistics anyway.
No, I'm sure there were quite a few.
I don't know. But we just speculation. All I'm going is by what's in black and white.
And
You know,
how accurate are those statistics anyway?
yeah. They're as accurate as you're going to get any other statistics. The thing is 31,000 people die of guns a year or more.
Well, and that's one of the things they said on the show. The majority of the deaths are suicide. I mean, and it's reported because, a gun is being used, you know.
I'd like to know how many suicides there are in the United States altogether, using other means. Right?
Well,
Too many to count.
I've always felt that, in my own opinion, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Okay? But I'm not diminishing what the person is going through, the anguish that the person is going through when they finally decide that this is what they want to do. Okay? They may think that their problems are so insurmountable that the only way out for them is suicide. We can't put ourselves inside the head of a possible suicide. You know, and that's why I say it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Anytime you are depressed in some way, okay, that's temporary. With help and counseling, you could get over it.
But some people can't. They just stay in a deep depression, and with all the help that they get, counseling or whatever, it doesn't.
Well, but
it doesn't help them, and I think it puts them more in a depression, which is why they commit suicide, because they figure it's the easy way out. They don't have to hear the counseling, or they don't want the counseling. They just want to be left alone.
Well,
and the only way to be left alone is to kill themselves. I mean, that's what I'm believing or thinking.
I have a feeling that people who are in counseling at least are reaching out. Okay, I'm thinking more along the lines of the people who are so anguished and depressed that they don't seek counseling, and therefore they look at suicide as the only option that they have available. Okay?
Well, they're afraid of something.
Well,
there's a block. There's something that
you see, you really can't say, because we really don't know what's going on in their lives.
Exactly. You don't know exactly. I say that all the time to so many people, and I think I've said it once on my page on Facebook. You really don't know what's going through someone's head. And as much as you try to, like you try to open up or get that person to open up, you really can't, because you just don't know how deep it goes.
Well, I remember as a teacher, when I would have the kids write poetry or something, or write a story, and if there was the slightest hint that they were thinking along those lines, you had to report it, because the bottom line is you can't take any chances,
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the first thing they say is, well, you're a teacher, not a therapist. And that's true. And therefore, what you do is you have to refer it through the proper channels. Make sure that there's nothing, that it's not a person reaching out for help or whatever,
You were teaching in 1984, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Do you remember, or do you recall, or if you can think that far back? Where'd you teach, in Brooklyn?
Well, I started out in Brooklyn, and then I wound up in Harlem for a year, and then I wound up in Springfield Gardens for the bulk of my career. I would say of my 34 years, um, let me see, 5, 6, I would say about 28 years was spent in Springfield Gardens.
Okay. In 1984, and I can't remember, I think it was probably around the fall, like in the fall. No, I think it was the spring. Anyway, it was all over the news. There was a letter bomb that exploded in a high school, and a teacher went to open up they had a package uh, in his mailbox,
Hmm.
and when he went to open it in the main office, it exploded in his face. It was from a student. I don't know if they ever caught the student. That bomb was in my high school. I'll never forget that day because
What
I
school
took the
was it? Do you
hall
know?
pass to go to the
What
bathroom,
school
and
was
there was
what?
smoke throughout the whole building,
Elisa,
and
what was the high school?
we had to get evacuated because of it.
What was the high school?
She said that
Mm.
Now
it
you
was
want
on the news. Everything
how many think how many suicides do you think there are per year in the world?
In the world?
in
I
the
don't know,
world.
but I'm sure the bulk of them are
It's
here in this country.
I can't count that far. I couldn't count that high.
About 1 million
Yeah,
a
but I think
year.
if you were to
A
break it down,
year?
1 million a year.
but I think if you were to break it down by country, I think this country has the most suicides.
I don't know. I'm trying to get that right now, and it's been hard so far. But 100 a year, there's like every few seconds there's somebody.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that's like every second someone's trying to, or someone is committing suicide.
Yep, pretty scary.
I don't know. I'm going to take a 5 minute break and go clean my gun. Uh,
You don't have a gun left.
that's true. I don't. I wouldn't carry one. In fact, before my son got married, before he moved out, I mean, he had a gun in his lockbox, and he had his service revolver, which he keeps at the precinct. But when he first was issued his gun, and he had it home, I mean, I didn't even want to touch it. You know, uh, I have no desire to fire a weapon.
I don't know. I don't
So
mind.
you've never fired a weapon? You've never fired one before?
No, I have no desire.
Oh.
I know Ellen would like to. Like I said, she wanted to get a carry permit. She wanted to get a permit. Not
Right.
that she would carry, but still. But I tell you, I was great on duck hunt. Remember that on the thing?
Oh, I used to
Remember
have
that
it.
game? Oh, I was great. And I tell you, when I used to go to Coney Island or something, and you shoot the gun or whatever, and you win a Cupid doll or a teddy bear or something, I always won. I was always like a marksman, a sharpshooter, whatever the heck it was.
Mhm.
Okay, here we go. In the United States, suicides, 32,533. More males than
But that.
females.
Wait a minute. That's murder and suicide
No, no, no,
as
no, no,
one?
no, that's just suicide.
Oh, because I thought you said murder and suicide.
No, suicide.
Well, you see, there's a new category now, and that is suicide by cop. A lot of times, a person has an unloaded weapon, okay, where they don't want to directly kill themselves, but if somebody calls the police or whatever the case may be, the police see a gun, and after giving the proper warning, they fire because they have to protect themselves and any other innocent people around, only to find out later
Mhm.
on that the weapon was empty.
But but look at this. This is what's interesting. 25,848 of them are males. Only 6,711 are females.
Well, that's because women, if they're going to kill themselves, take pills.
No, this is not by gun. This is all suicides in the United States.
So it's suicide by any kind of means.
19,000 of those were by guns.
Oh, all right.
And the largest, and the age groups are pretty well spread out. It seems like the largest, they start from 15 through 75 and over.
Well, you know why teens are committing suicide? And I think it's getting,
well,
I think
social
the
media,
statistic of that is getting higher is because they're getting bullied.
Social media has a lot to do with it because a lot of
Absolutely.
a lot of these teenagers are bullied on social media. Especially when you get into high school. Now, I have to honestly tell you, I didn't know. My son never really told us, but my oldest son is gay, and he used to put up with a lot of wisecracks and remarks when he would walk through the. And he wasn't openly gay at that time. He really wasn't sure what he was, okay? And kids can be very cruel. And, guys would just walk by and say something just loud enough for him to hear, okay? And he had to put up with this every day, and like I said, I didn't know it. He didn't tell us any of this. It came out many years later, okay? But both my sons, the 31-year-old and the 29-year-old, have had friends who have committed suicide, okay? Generally by hanging, okay? And it's a terrible thing. It's truly a tragedy, and it really leaves more questions than anything else, unanswered questions, family members and parents saying, how come I didn't see, what could I have done, and Joshua had one friend who had a heart condition, a hockey teammate of his, but that wasn't a suicide. But he and Jonathan both had a friend who, different friends who hang themselves. In fact, Jonathan's friend called him the day before just to tell him what a great friend he was. Jonathan never put two and two together until he found out that he hanged himself, and this was just his way of saying thank you for being my friend,
Right.
And he felt terrible, obviously, But Matthew knows the person who Joshua knew who killed himself.
Yeah.
They lived on your old street.
Yeah.
Terrible.
All right, we're going to put on a song and we're going to let you criticize it.
Well, I hope it's a song that's going to be a little upbeat because between...
Wait, who's criticizing?
You.
Mark or me?
You.
Oh, okay.
Mark hates all the music.
What was that?
So I think Mark hates most of the new music.
Yeah, most of the music he plays I don't like anyway, so... But I hope it's upbeat because this is a rather serious topic.
Okay, the name of the singer's called Ina, and she's had a few hits in the past. From Romania, actually.
You like Romania, don't you?
No, it just happens to be the last song put out. And I don't know what the word... I don't know. We'll find out.
I like the beat. She ever gonna sing?